We are living inside a system that no longer serves the people who built it. Everything has been commoditized. Our labor, our homes, our transportation, even our identity. The argument being made is simple but deeply unsettling. When everything becomes a product, people themselves become inventory. We no longer own our homes in the way previous generations understood ownership. We rent them through endless taxation. We rent our vehicles through registration and fees. And if this system continues unchecked, the next thing to be rationed will be the air itself. This is not presented as a metaphor. It is presented as a warning. The central claim is that the United States government is no longer functioning as a constitutional republic, but as a commercial corporation operating out of the District of Columbia. According to this view, Congress has jurisdiction only over a 10-mile square area, along with a handful of territories such as Guam and Puerto Rico. Everything beyond that is said to be governed not by constitutional law, but by contracts, statutes, and commercial codes. The claim continues. The 50 states were not eliminated, but overlaid with corporate counterparts. California becomes CA, Michigan becomes MI, political subdivisions replacing sovereign states. This linguistic shift is framed not as shorthand, but as a legal mechanism designed to move people into federal jurisdiction without their knowledge. At the center of the argument is the 14th Amendment, described here not as a protection, but as a transformation of legal status. The distinction is drawn between a so-called United States citizen and what is referred to as an American, an inhabitant, or a man on the land. A United States citizen, they argue, is a legal entity created by Congress, a construct that exists to be governed, regulated, and contracted with. An American, by contrast, is said to possess inalienable rights granted by a creator, not permissions granted by a corporate authority. This distinction is used to explain why names appear in all capital letters on legal documents, not for emphasis, but to designate a corporate fiction. According to this theory, the all-caps name represents a dead entity, a vessel through which contracts are enforced. Property ownership becomes another point of contention. Paying off a house does not eliminate property taxes. Ownership, they argue, never truly transfers. Without allodial title, the land itself remains encumbered. Taxes function as rent paid to a superior authority. This is presented not as accidental bureaucracy, but as a deliberate structure designed to keep individuals dependent. The conversation turns to taxation, particularly federal income tax, which is described here as voluntary in nature. The claim is that federal income tax applies only to those working for the federal government or residing within federal jurisdiction. Others, they argue, participate through consent, often unknowingly, by identifying as federal citizens. Correcting one's status is presented as the exit, a formal declaration that withdraws consent and ends participation. This process is framed as lawful, documented, and essential to starving what is repeatedly called the beast system. The Epstein case is used as evidence that institutional corruption is not theoretical, but systemic. Questions are raised about why certain properties were never searched, why evidence remains sealed, and why accountability never arrives. The refusal to release full documentation is framed as confirmation rather than denial. Media distractions are described as intentional misdirection, deployed whenever revelations become too destabilizing. The language becomes theological. The system is described not merely as corrupt, but as inverted. A world where power protects itself, sacrifices the vulnerable, and rewards compliance. Natural disasters are reinterpreted as weapons. Fires, floods, and destruction framed as deliberate acts. Weather modification is rejected as too gentle a term. The phrase used instead is weather weaponization. These events are tied to broader agendas of depopulation, land seizure, and forced relocation. The conclusion is not one of despair, but of responsibility. The solution offered is knowledge, understanding language, understanding contracts, understanding consent. Stop funding what enslaves you. Stop consenting to what destroys you. Armor up with knowledge, withdraw consent, and remember who you are.